If you're looking to lose anywhere from 20 to 50 pounds of actual body fat and get completely ripped, whether it be just losing some fat from your stomach or love handles, or just getting the best shape of your life, or having six-pack abs, these 5 rules are absolutely going to help you get there. And please stick to the end, because rule number 5 is the one that's going to change the game for you. I guarantee it. I use them personally to go from a fat kid to a pro athlete, national champion, 3-time national champion, Olympics Games candidate, and a professional coach. I've also used the same exact 5 rules to help transform over 1,200 clients in the last 16 years as a coach. If you use these, they will absolutely work for you as well. So rule number 1 is, please realize and embrace that your number 1 challenge is quitting. So the number 1 rule is not quitting the diet. Even a half well done diet that you consistently stay on for months is much better than a perfect diet that you quit after 2 weeks. So please remember, quitting happens for many, many reasons. Official stats say that 40% of dieters quit within 5 days. 80% quit within 20 days. So basically, after the first month is done, almost everybody has quit their diet. Many reasons for that. One of them, probably the main one, people don't see results fast enough. This could be because they're measuring, their progress based on the scale weight, which you should never do as the number 1, way to track progress. You should use body fat percentage. I have videos talking about this, because your scale weight can fluctuate 1 to 5 pounds every single day. This is completely normal. This is nothing special. This is how it should work, because how much you slept, how stressed you are, how many carbs you've had. If you had more carbs the night before, you're going to weigh more the next day, simply because carbs retain water, basically suck up water, and then you weigh more. If you have a low carb diet for 3 days, you can flush out 5 to 10 pounds of weight, which is just, again, water weight. It's all water fluctuations, okay? So don't use the scale. That's number 1. Number 2, having unrealistic expectations. People see dumb shows like Biggest Loser and say, hey, I need to lose 15 pounds in a week too. Please remember, 1 to 2 pounds of body fat lost per week. That's how much you can and should expect to lose. Anything over that, you're not losing body fat. You're losing either muscle or water, as I said before. So it can be a bunch of other things. People are like, oh, I'm starving. And of course, how your diet is set up has a lot to do with whether you quit or not. This is the reason why all the fad diets like carnivore, keto, fasting, veganism, all the other dumb fads, the reason people quit these is because they're unsustainable. If it makes you hungry and starving, is it any surprise that everybody quits? If I was, if somebody told me you got to be starving in order to look great, I'd be like, let me just be fat. It doesn't work for me. Okay, so please remember, not quitting is the key. That consistency that everybody talks about, consistent. I'm talking about months that you're going to be on the diet is usually a lot more than you think, and therefore that consistency over time, as I said, somewhat a good diet that you stick to for 6 months and get to your goal is infinitely better than a perfect diet that you quit after 2 weeks. Okay, so please remember, perfection is not the goal. Consistency and staying on the diet is the goal. Which leads us straight to our rule number 2, which is it's going to take a lot longer to get there than you think it will. The golden rule in this industry, the unwritten rule that, the they don't want you to know, if you will, is we're all fatter than we think we are. We all have higher fat percentage than we think we do, and therefore we got more body fat to lose than we initially planned. So everybody thinks, for example, I got 20 pounds to lose. And I do this all day, every day with my clients. And initially the client's like, yeah, I got 20 pounds to lose and I'll be golden. We lose 20 pounds of actual body fat. Again, not water, not muscle, actual body fat. And they're like, well, this was great, but I got a lot more to lose than I thought I did. This is always like that. So please remember, an average transformation, of course, how long it takes depends on where you're starting. Some people actually have 10 pounds to lose. Some people, think they need to lose 30, but they actually need to lose 50. So either way, I guarantee you one thing that has never been an exception, and you won't be the exception either. I wish you do, but you won't, which is it's going to take longer than you think it does. Usually a good reference is anywhere from 50% longer than you think to double the time. So if you think it's going to take a month, it's probably going to take 2 months. If you think it's going to take 3, it's probably going to take 6 months. So the more you know this and embrace it and ahead of time plan on that, the less likely you are to be disappointed, which leads to number 1 challenge, quitting. If you get disappointed, you're going to quit. If you plan the diet to take 6 months and it actually ends up taking 4 months, Hey, hallelujah, right? We're gonna take that. There are two reasons why this takes longer than you think it does. Number one is you're only human. Therefore, you can't be perfect, nor do you need to be. You're not a robot, so things will happen. A kid will get sick, you'll have a party, you'll have a mini vacation, you'll have a stressful time, emotional time in your business, your relationship. Something will happen somewhere and you will fall off the diet for a day, 2, 5, whatever it is. And these things derail, meaning just delay the outcome a little bit. And sometimes you'll fall off the diet for a week. That's okay. So what? You just delayed the goal for the week. It doesn't matter. If you're going to get in shape once and stay there for next, let's say you're 40 years old, you plan to live 100, you have 60 years to enjoy that. Does it matter that the diet's going to take a week longer? No, who cares? But that's the number one reason. Number two is because it gets harder as you get leaner. This is, I can't emphasize this enough or enough times, which is it's infinitely easier to lose your first 10 pounds when you have 50 pounds to lose. Going from 50 overweight to 40 pounds overweight is infinitely easier than losing your third 10 pounds. Going from 30 overweight to 20 overweight. The leaner you get, the harder, meaning slower it gets. Things start to matter a lot more. You have to have things dialed in a lot more. How many steps you do, how many workouts you did, how many calories you actually ate over what you're supposed to. All of these things, the margin of error becomes smaller, and therefore all of these slip-ups that happen, they're always there, they will always happen. They matter more, meaning they mess up the things more in a way that they delay it more. So, and generally speaking, the leaner you get, harder your body's going to fight against fat loss. So if you're really overweight and have, let's say, 50 to 100 pounds to lose, your body's like, this is great. I love it. As long as you don't eat junk food 3 times a day, you'll be fine. On the other hand, let's say you are a man and you're 17% body fat trying to get to 12, like you want to have abs, the body's going to fight really, really hard. So that last 10 pounds might actually take more than double the time that it took to lose the initial 20 pounds to get there. So please remember, it's always going to take longer than you think. As I said, probably double, however long you think it's going to take, probably double that. Rule number 3, by far the best approach that I can share with you when it comes to losing weight and doing that successfully is see it as a learning experience. Instead of saying, my goal is to lose 50 pounds, you need to say, I'm going to learn what are the habits. So basically learning what are the activities that you need to do per day and what is that process. And then that process becomes the goal until doing that process becomes a habit. So we're going to learn something. So let's say, for example, you're going to track your food, you're going to exercise twice a week, and you're going to do 10,000 steps. Let's say those are the 3 new things that you're going to do now that you haven't done before. You got to learn all of these. You got to learn how to track food, number 1. You got to learn how to properly exercise and build a habit of doing that. And 3, you got to build a habit of walking 10,000 steps a day. All of these things are new. You got to learn something new. But then, as you do it over time, if you stick to it consistently and improve over time, so let's say you tracked food and first day it took 10 minutes, the 50th day it's going to take 60 seconds or under 1 minute to track your food. You became better at it. And then eventually these things become a habit, and then you don't have to ever think about them. They become automatic. So see this as a learning experience that is going to eventually build a habit that goes on auto that you don't have to do any time, meaning you don't have to spend any energy or effort thinking about doing them. They're just a normal part of your lifestyle. That is when you have won for good. So see it as a learning experience, probably going to be one of the most valuable ones in your life, period, because what you will learn about yourself throughout that process is extremely valuable. Very, very few things can match it. Rule number 4, you must adjust the calories. The math has to be done several times throughout your transformation process, simply because you're not going to start with the same calories having 50 pounds to lose that you will, when you get to the point of having only 10 pounds to lose. They're not the same calories. The margins have to change simply because you have now changed. And please remember, every pound of actual body fat you lose, somewhere between 15 and 20 calories a day, your metabolic rate will slow down. This is completely normal, but we have to adjust for that. So let's say you lost 20 pounds and you said, that's fine, I'm just going to keep the calories that I used to have. It's not going to work. We got to adjust that. You got to say, okay, if you lost, let's say 10 pounds, we got to now have 150 to 200 calories less continuing on in order to have to basically keep making progress. So you have to adjust the calories. I suggest every 10 pounds of body fat is a really good rule of thumb. You have to either do more exercise or more steps, or lower the calories by that much. So please make sure the adjustments are key. This is majority of my clients about every 6 to 8 weeks, we adjust the calories again, simply because they're now having progress. They're lost anywhere from 6 to 15 pounds over that period. Now we adjust the calories, they keep losing body fat. It's just continuous, but it's not going to happen unless you adjust over time. You have to follow what's going on with your metabolic rate. Maybe you now do more exercise and more steps than you did initially. Maybe you do less. You have to account for these things. Otherwise, again, you're going to get fat loss results that you're not happy with. Leads to rule number 1, don't quit, which you're very likely if you're disappointed. So make sure to adjust the calories along the way, make sure that you're happy and keep making progress, and then you don't quit, and then you get to the end goal. Rule number 5 is probably one of the most important rules of all of these, which is we got to prevent one bad meal from becoming a bad week, from becoming a bad month, from becoming I quit the diet. This is one of the most important things that again leads to rule number 1, which is you have to not quit. And this basically 90% of my job and my work with clients as a coach is preventing them from quitting, which is dealing with emotions, right? So a client I just literally had yesterday a client who had a 3-day event. He flew somewhere across the country. They had all the, pizzas and chips and everything else around. And it's an all-day event, so he wasn't actually able to work out. He did do a little bit of steps, but he's like, this was a terrible 3 days. Terrible 3 days. I probably overate 500 calories each day. It's all ruined. I'm a failure. I'm like, okay, wait. 500 calories a day surplus. That's 3 days only. So that's 1,500 calories. That's not even half a pound of body fat that you potentially gained, which again, maybe you haven't. But let's say you have gained a half a pound of body fat. It's going to take us 2 to 3 days of proper dieting to burn that off. And that's it. And then we adjusted the calories. He's now doing a little bit more steps. So we're going to actually, the next week, we're going to completely eliminate that surplus that he did. And he's like, this is so great, I can just keep going. Yay, thank you so much for coach. I would definitely have quit my diet if I wasn't in your program. Like, I get it. So please remember, this is one of the key things, is preventing that one bad meal or one bad night of eating to turn into, I screwed one day. Well, what the hell? This week is already done, meaning it's already bad. So let me just eat whatever throughout the week. And of course, after that, you're like, hey, 1 week can certainly easily turn into 2. I'll get back, on the diet after the second week, and you never do. You just quit. So please remember, the best thing to do, of course, the easiest thing to do is to say, well, just start over tomorrow. But that truly is the solution here. Start over the next day. And what I actually like to do is not even next day. I like to let me introduce you to one of my golden rules that I share with my clients, which is you gotta deserve your carbs. Your carbs are just an energy source. They don't have any, life essential functions. You can live without them for the rest of your life. Not that you shouldn't, but you can. Therefore, you gotta deserve your carbs. You deserve them with activity. Short term, meaning either do more exercise or more steps. Longer term, you deserve more carbs by being lean. The leaner you are, the more carbs you can have without any issues. But very, very short term, like on a day-to-day basis, if you do more activity from either steps or exercise, you get to eat more carbs. So what I like to do is plan when my clients are going to have some kind of, a party day event, whatever it is, maybe mini vacation, especially when it comes to a certain day. Plan to have a very light breakfast and lunch, extremely light, lean veggies or veggies and kind of lean protein. And then at night, you can pretty much have anything you want. Or you do a longer workout to deserve some carbs and calories later on that won't make any difference in any negative way. So these are the 5 rules. Please stick to these 5 rules. I guarantee you it's going to make it so much easier for you to get to your absolute perfect shape. Guys, if you want help with this and you want to lose anywhere from 20 or 50 pounds, go check out rippedceo.com. By far the best program in the world. I guarantee it, that is going to show you exactly how to do that. So go to rippedceo.com, check that out. Also, if you want to work one-on-one with me and actually be coached one-on-one, then there's a link below. Check that out. You can see some requirements that we have, and if we are a good match, you can book a call with me or somebody on my team, and we can see where to go from there. If you join the program a couple of months from now, you're going to be in the best shape of your life, guaranteed. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Happy New Year. See you next time.